Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train a Dragon podcast. I'm your host HC, and with me are
Rush 2112.
And Wolf.
episode 30. We've been doing this for 1 year, 30 episodes. I can't believe it still. But anyway, episode 30. It's another big one. It's another 10 episodes of the Berkcast. So we decided let's talk about a big topic. Let's talk about How to Train a Dragon 3's competition. As of now, we know that the movie is coming out on March 1st, 2019.
Unless it changes
But
again.
unless it changes again, which to be honest, I'll kill them if that's the case. But unless they move it back to 2018, then I'll be happy.
Then we have to do this episode again.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well,
So expect another one of these in the future, potentially.
yeah, if the unlikely will ever happen. But the point of this is we just want to see what How to Train Dragon 3 is going up against and like what could potentially harm it at the box office or the Oscars or, just analyze and talk about films, I guess. So like we said, How to Train Dragon 3 as of now comes out on March 1st. It opens the same day as a film called Chaos Walking, which from a research I've done not 2 hours ago in preparation for this. It's an adaptation of a young adult book series, and it stars Daisy Ridley, I think.
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley, who most of you probably know now as Rey from Star Wars, and Tom Holland, which we all know as Spider-Man now.
Yep.
So, has any of you heard of Chaos Walking before this?
No. I'm sure some
I
of our
have
youth...
heard of Mads Mikkelsen, though. He was Ray's dad in Rogue One. Or no, he wasn't Ray's dad. He was the dad in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Oh, two Star Wars actors.
Yep.
But yeah, but the thing about Chaos Walking is that it's an adaptation of young adult novel, and those are usually big money makers, even if the films themselves are not good. Which I'm not saying it's going to be. On the contrary, you put Tom Holland in there, I'm most likely going to check it out. Not before Dragons, but maybe. But again, those are big movie makers, and it kind of aims at the same audience as Dragon's Tree. Don't you guys think?
Eh, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's... again, let's keep in mind, this is science fiction, and, again, what a lot of science fiction has been doing, which is dystopian universe,
Yep.
possibly future. But I don't think there's a lot of crossover between fantasy fans and science fiction fans. There is some, absolutely, but I
No,
think...
I'm talking about the fact that kids still go to these young adult movies, and How to
With their
Train a Dragon
parents, yeah.
3, yeah, and How to Train a Dragon 3 is animation, and animation also targets kids, and and also teenagers. In case of How to Train a Dragon, it's most likely also targeted teenagers because the kids who watched the first movie are now grown up, most likely. So
Looking at the age group, yeah, it could definitely be targeting a similar age group. But I don't... personally, I don't think there'd be a ton of crossover. Again, because I'm not quite certain how popular the novel the novel trilogy was. It seems like, at least in the UK anyways, it was very popular, but outside of the UK, I don't know. So any of our non-UK fans or viewers can tell us and
actually,
let us know
if
if they've heard of
someone
this.
and if someone who's listening to this has ever heard of the books or read them, and fill us in. What do you guys think? If it's any good, if you're looking forward to a film adaptation, we'll be happy to hear. But before we move on, Rush, do you have anything to add on Chaos Walking?
No, I mean, like you said, it's for the young adults, and if you look at their cast, it's just full of young adults for sure. So it's
Oh.
definitely going to be. I feel like it's going to be kind of like Maze Runner, where it has those younger kids in it that nobody really knows about,
Uh,
except for like the few
Maze Runner
stars.
was so boring.
I don't know if I'd call Charlie Kaufman a young adult.
Okay, the attempt at young adults. I mean, Tom Holland's 21. Daisy Ridley, let's open link a new tab. She's 25.
Hmm.
So I mean, those at least they are. Let's see, Jamie Linden. Never mind. She's a screenwriter. Those are their at least headers. So you never know.
Yeah, Charlie Kaufman is also a screenwriter, not an actor.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Okay,
Still yet.
yeah.
but now, so we
Before we
talked
move on,
about.
I guess we should give a little bit of a background on Chaos Walking. It's just because I think the premise is interesting, and the premise is essentially that all living creatures can share each other's thoughts. So,
Mhm.
which is an interesting
Okay.
idea, and I'd be interested to see how this movie plays out.
Yeah.
To give my opinion on what I've looked at so far.
Mhm. Okay, so now we are moving on to, let's see. Okay, so are we? And there's nothing in really worthwhile a week before How to Train Dragon 3 opens up. Like the last films that are coming out, which are as of now are on February 15, which are an untitled X-Men film, which, let's be honest, will make money, and The Bride of Frankenstein, which I don't know, it's part of this same cinematic universe as The Mummy, which how successful was that?
Wait, it is?
Not
Yeah,
very.
You're talking about the remake of Mummy, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
remake of
So the whole
Mummy.
idea that's going
Oh
on behind
boy.
that is they're trying to do like all of the old monster movies in one universe. Like they're gonna have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, um, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, I think.
No, when you say the Mummy, you mean the Mummy
Yes,
that
with
Yeah,
they redid for
there
the
is a,
it
Brendan
just came
Fraser,
out with
yeah,
Tom Cruise.
that they
yes, the
tried
recent
to
one.
redo the Brendan Fraser one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yee.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
supposed
gives
to.
my opinion.
But what I asked about successful, not in terms of reviews, I know it's been pretty much panned. I mean, in terms of box office, has anyone heard if it had any luck in the box office department?
I do not know, but we can find out very quick, I think.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, but one
It
interesting.
it did profit,
Okay, it did profit, so
but
it makes sense for them to move forward with their plans, I
it
guess.
wasn't a lot though.
Okay, but who knows? Maybe it was just in production, so you can't. You have to go with what you got.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, actually, 1 week after How to Train a Dragon 3, there's a movie which would most likely ha harm it, and that's Captain Marvel. Let's be honest, it's a Marvel film. It's an MCU film. It will make money.
Yeah.
Especially now that there's this entire trend about who knows if the Wonder Woman effect will still be a thing by then. But it's a female superhero. People will get excited for that. Now that it's Marvel doing it, it will make money. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like all of their other films have been successful thus far, so I don't see any reason why this one wouldn't. And I could definitely say that there is some crossover between the audiences.
Yep.
So it's definitely possible that it could eat into it a little bit.
Yeah.
How
In
much
all
though?
honesty, yeah, because in all honesty, March seems to be a really busy year this year. So. It, How to Train Your Dragon 3 doesn't really have much of a break because a week after there's Captain Marvel, and a week after there's an untitled Jordan Peele film, which Wolf told me before we started recording is a really talented filmmaker.
Well, he's only made
Well,
one
he's only
film
made
thus
one,
far.
so I mean, it
Yeah, he
was a
made
very
only
good one, but
one.
you can't say it's
Yeah,
good after one. I
but
mean, look
you
what
know what I
happened
mean.
to look what happened to what's his name? Crap. Well, there goes that anecdote.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, that's who it is. After a couple of his films.
Though,
Mhm.
to be fair, he is possibly back on the rise again,
Yeah, with his
looking at some of his more
Unbreakable
recent
sequel.
films. Hmm.
And after a week after that, there's Godzilla King of the Monsters and an untitled Nickelodeon film. Who would have thought Godzilla versus Nickelodeon? I would pay to see that
Yeah,
fight.
really.
I'm
Uh,
I'm going to go out on a limb. Or no, the SpongeBob movie's scheduled for much further
no, no,
on,
no.
right?
That's way later. It's
Yeah.
not
Okay,
on
if that's what
March.
you know, what I'm going to go out on a limb and say a brand new film that we've never had a film made of it before. Avatar: The Last Airbender film. They're trying that out finally. Took them a long
Eh,
time to actually do that.
They already did that.
no, no, no,
That
no, no.
that's
It doesn't count. We don't talk about this.
What are you talking about?
Speaking
There
of M.
was no
Night
other film.
Shyamalan.
Are you talking about that? Are you talking about that Avatar film with the blue people? That's not Avatar: The Last Airbender, Rush.
Meanwhile,
That's
yeah,
why,
that
you
That's
sequel
know,
is coming
Pocahontas.
out.
I mean, when I brought up M. Night Shyamalan earlier, that's kind of one of the ones that I was talking about. But I mean, anyway, let's take a step back here and let's take a look at why they didn't decide to move it earlier in February, where
Yeah.
from the 15th to the 28th, there's no movies coming out, no big
Yeah,
name movies coming
exactly.
out.
Yeah, exactly. I want to say that they put it in like a very busy time, like which, to be honest, doesn't really give it much time to shine unless they advertise the fuck out of it.
Ugh.
Well, for animation, you do want to hit. Generally, from what I understand, when it comes to movie releases and how they generally tend to do it for animation, you want to hit within that early summer-ish area and
Hmm.
spring-ish area because that's when you're going to get your biggest draw for animation,
Yeah,
especially.
personally, talking about someone who doesn't live in the US, we have a holiday around March. I'm not sure if it will be around March this year, but it will. Debuting it in March will probably, in few places it will be a holiday. So kids are out of school. Parents need to keep them busy.
Well, yeah, like so March usually is the American time that spring break happens, which is a week off.
Around
Hmm.
that area.
Yeah, it's anywhere from the second to the fourth week of March. Um, so I guess
But
if
then
if it
does
stays in the theaters for that long, and yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, but let's also talk about this that around a month before it, there's the Lego Movie sequel, which, to be honest, has been delayed for almost like How to Train Your Dragon 3 was delayed. So, but let's say both of those films are coming out. The Lego Movie sequel will be out for a month. What are the chances that people will just go see the Lego Movie sequel instead of How to Train Your Dragon 3?
That's the thing. Do you think it'll be in theaters for? Oh, I mean, yeah, it'll probably be in for a whole month, but it won't overlap. Like at that point, once it gets from the 8th to the 1st, at that point, people will be either going to see the new movie coming out, or they won't really go see a movie at all.
Again, generally, from
Yeah.
what I understand of movie releases, at least in theaters, if you're looking for, profit in the box office, your first week is your biggest.
Yeah.
Your
Mhm.
second week, after your second week, it generally tends to tail off almost immediately, from what I
Yeah,
understand.
But look, there's a
yeah, true,
Minecraft movie in May.
yeah, true. But let's assume that parents that not all parents take their kids to see a movie, and then they can see a movie until March, and then they have to decide between the Lego Movie sequel and How to Train Your Dragon 3. What do you choose? Obviously, depends on the kid, but
It depends on the parent too. Like I think a
Yeah.
lot of parents would take their.
it depends on the kids, the parents, and to some extent the marketing.
Yeah,
Because
that too.
if you're not an internet savvy like us, for example, you probably wouldn't know that a certain movie is still playing if there's no marketing for it.
True.
True. I mean, let's go. Let's talking about marketing real quick though. We do have to say that DreamWorks marketing not the best in the world. I think the
You know,
general consensus you'll hear about the first movie is I saw the ads for this movie and was like, this is going to be terrible.
again, living proof for that, talking to you right now.
Yeah, I know. So, DreamWorks marketing not the best.
This
So,
does bring up a good point that I want to talk to you guys about because let's not forget that each movie was distributed by a different company, and the third one has been distributed by Universal, which Universal has very, very, very deep pockets in
mhm.
there.
And this is a
So
huge, 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 huge franchise for DreamWorks.
yes.
When Universal picked them up, they should know. They knew that this would be there, like one of the.
Well, I don't know if I would say huge.
Well, but
Shrek is
But
huge.
Shrek is done.
yeah,
Shrek is not done.
sadly no,
It is in my
because there is
heart.
a Shrek. But yeah, but Rush does have a good point here because I think out of all the DreamWorks franchises, I'll say that like the main four are Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, and How to Train a
Train
Dragon.
Your Dragon, yeah, I would agree.
So Shrek for now, like as of now, and at the time How to Train a Dragon 3 comes out, is not around. Madagascar, same thing. It's been gone for a while. I know there's a fourth one coming, but still, it's not. And Kung Fu Panda is pretty much done unless until at the time of this recording, there is no announcements and there are no plans for Kung Fu Panda 4. So as of now, How to Train a Dragon 3 is like their biggest one because there have been two movies prior to it, and a TV show and four short films. So that's it. I guess I think a How to Train a Dragon 3 will most likely have more audience than the Trolls 2 and or the Boss Baby 2, which have been announced.
Yeah.
Well, both of those have released already.
No, the second sequels.
Oh, yes, that's right. I see what you're. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, the correct
So-
word is oh no.
Yeah, I haven't seen both of them, so I don't know.
Neither have I,
They actually.
so I can't say either.
They did. I mean, they got poor. They didn't get like great reviews, but they didn't get like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Well, Trolls may have, but they did. They did.
Actually,
I believe from it.
Actually, I heard the Boss Baby is worse than Trolls, but
Looking at the review scores both of them have, Captain Underpants did a lot better than The Boss Baby. Captain Underpants is above an 80. The Boss Baby is just hovering above 52%.
I think Captain Underpants actually did well. I love that book. Oh, it's okay. Well, the good news is Captain Underpants is double. Its box office is well over double its budget, so that's good.
But its budget was less than 50 million. Compare that to the first How to Train Your Dragon movie,
yeah,
which
exactly.
its budget was, if I'm not mistaken, where is it? It's in here somewhere. I mean, the second How to Train Your Dragon movie, looking at, comparing budgets, it had 145 million. The first Captain Underpants movie isn't even half of that.
Well, okay. How about this? Boss Baby was 125 million, and they did a lot better. They almost did, what was that? 4 times? Almost 4 times.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
people have bad taste in movies, potentially. If that
Well,
movie
the Boss
How does
Baby
it-
but the Boss Baby came out at a good time for taking kids to the cinema,
Hmm.
Even though there must have been a better choice, but who am I to judge?
Yeah. Or honestly, I can't remember any other animated movies out at the time.
But okay, but back to what we're talking about. Um, Seeing how Universal distributes the film, they probably have some word on the marketing department
Yeah.
because it's money for them as well, not just the remarks.
Hmm.
So and considering the fact that Universal has a lot of money and also a lot of movies, like if you look at the list we're looking at, it's 2019 in the film on Wikipedia. Almost like every other movie has Universal's name on it. So,
Yeah.
but then again, it's also a thing that they have deep pockets, but the deep pockets are also running empty sometimes. So what would they choose to advertise and what not? That's also a factor we need to take into consideration.
I mean, they're definitely going to advertise. They're going to focus a little bit more on, I would say, films that have a background already, like How to Train Your Dragon 3, having already had two releases that were fairly successful. It's definitely a film they're going to put a little bit more, that they might put a little bit more marketing into, depending on their marketing department, how they operate. Or then again, it's a film they might say, this film can sell itself. We don't have to do as much with it. We're going to focus on movies that are relatively new, since they're a
Yeah.
little bit more riskier than
Mhm.
what a sequel is. So I guess it just
Okay,
depends.
so
Because a sequel can have. No, I'm not. No, this is sort of true for most sequels. I say sequels or even the third in a movie. At that point, you have a cult following, especially for How to Train Your Dragon. I mean,
Yeah, I would
mhm.
agree.
but
You
like,
definitely have.
yeah, that's why I say
Uh,
for most movies, because then you get crappy movies like the original. There's actually a Trolls and a Trolls 2, like that's live action that has nothing to do with the animation. That's so bad. The second
Even
movie,
that stuff can get a cult following, though.
I guess, because it's so bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know something? There are some people who didn't even know the "Can't Stop the Feeling" song is actually from that movie.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
Anyway,
mean,
but we can continue talking about that because I went to the entire list and I shrunk it down to the movies that have like similar audiences to How to Train Your Dragon and will probably most likely be could potentially be a competition for an Oscar. Not saying I'm not trying to to say any of the following is going to win an Oscar, but you know what I'm saying. Eh, It could be regarded in the same.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, if it's nominated for Oscar, it would only be an animation
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Well,
that's why most
screenplay.
of it.
or screenplay.
Yeah. But anyway, the few movies that I think will be the biggest competition in the entire for the entire year in terms of audiences are one, the Lego Movie sequel. We kind of talked about it already that it comes out around a month before, so by the time How to Train Dragon 3 comes out, the Lego Movie sequel will probably dry out because it's been running for a month. But at the same time, if there could also be a chance that if a parent can take their kids to see only one movie at one time and they haven't seen the Lego Movie sequel before it could be up to the parents. But again, we talked about this. Next one, Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's coming out 2 weeks after 3 weeks after How to Train Dragon 3. Do you think that will have something to do with it? Comparing a live action CGI movie on its first week to an animated movie on its third week. What do you guys think?
It's possible. I mean, I think Godzilla's going to have somewhat of a much older audience, I would say. a much older audience, the teenagers, and I think you're going to have see a lot of teenagers in How to Train Your Dragon 3. I think the audience is different enough for the most part that it's not going to affect it too much. And one of the reasons I say that is because Godzilla is very old, has a very long history. It's up and down. And I think a lot of the people you're going to see at Godzilla are people who still love Godzilla than people who are looking for a good action romp. I don't think How to Train Your Dragon 3 is necessarily going to be a good action romp.
Yeah, because it's not an action movie; it's a fantasy movie.
And also,
Looking
again,
at the second film is definitely has its actiony moments. I
Yeah,
would
and
say.
even a few Godzilla set pieces with the Bewilder Beast, I'll say.
yeah, but
So
then you also have to think another thing back on what we said earlier, how they really want to get their profit in the first weekend and even the second weekend. Once it hits that third weekend, you're not really expecting much, and that's when Godzilla's coming out. It's coming out the third week after How to Train Your Dragon 3. So
Yeah, so in that sense, it's not much of a threat, but it. Let's say it like this: if Godzilla wasn't there in that in the third weekend, How to Train Your Dragon 3 could have more profitable week, if you know what I mean. Again, we are just theorizing here. We are not professionals.
it
We
could
can't really tell.
it could most
But
certainly have a longer tail potentially. And I mean, looking at longer tail, you're going to see Captain Marvel probably eat into that tail before you'll see Godzilla eat into that tail.
absolutely.
And
yeah,
you might even see the untitled Jordan Peele film, which, if you're curious, he's known. The only film he's really been behind that he's really well known for right now is Get Out. So I don't think you're going to see that really touch How to Train Your Dragon 3, considering I don't know what he's making. I'm going to guess it might be another horror film, though it could be something entirely different.
Says thriller in the genre, but that could just be a mislead.
It could be, but if it's thriller, I'm going to say probably going more towards something similar to Get Out again, which case I don't think you're going to see any competition there with How to Train Your Dragon 3 at all. I mean, there are definitely going to be people who are, the same age that are going to How to Train Your Dragon 3, being, a lot of teenagers who've grown up with How to Train Your Dragon at this point, and young adults. You're definitely going to probably see them at the Jordan Peele film, but I don't know how much that's going to eat into one another. If they'll probably see How to Train Your Dragon 3 first, then go back and see the new Jordan Peele film later on, since there's a decent amount of time between the two.
Yeah.
For some reason, I wrote Dumbo on the list, the live-action Dumbo, but I don't think it's really a competition here because
I mean,
How to Train Dragon 3 will already be on its fourth week, and in terms of awards, they won't be nominated for the same awards.
Probably not, but it is worth bearing in mind, at least going by what I've seen. There is a lot of crossover between Disney fans and DreamWorks fans. And that's definitely worth noting. And a lot of Disney fans do enjoy the Disney live action remakes.
I'm
Give or take.
After Cinderella, I said I'm done. Like, I watched the new Beauty and the Beast, but not in theaters. I'm done watching these things. And actually, Beauty and the Beast just scared me away from seeing them all together.
I don't know how
curious.
I don't know how well Dumbo's going to do, but it does have Tim Burton as the director. And if you've seen,
to be honest,
watch out for a freaky-looking elephant then.
But I mean, that's the thing, though, right? Do you not remember the
but
original
here's the
Dumbo?
thing.
The original Dumbo had a lot of really kind of acid trippy moments.
No wonder they hired Tim Burton.
Yeah, can you imagine Tim Burton doing the pink elephants? That would be something.
That's gonna scar even an adult like me.
I mean, the animation film probably scarred people for life as it was anyways.
It scarred me.
So,
why is Dumbo getting drunk?
It makes sense that they would put Tim Burton on this film. Like, he makes a lot of good sense for it.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. When was the last time people pretty much objectively said Tim Burton made a good movie?
It's been a
Because
little while. I mean,
yeah,
that's the thing,
because
right? Like his movie's not necessarily good, but it's his set design and set pieces that I think people really enjoy.
yeah,
How he can,
somebody said that Tim Burton is not really a story guy.
background.
The it's more the background of the set pieces and stuff, and that's probably because the problem with him nowadays, from what people are saying, is that he's trying to go more for a story, and it's clearly not his strong point.
Hmm.
But anyway, one film I do want to talk about because it's Toy Story 4. That's what do you guys think? Because right now we don't really know much about it. We haven't seen a lot of it. But do you think it will capture that same feeling that of the original three? Because to be honest, as much don't get me wrong, I love Toy Story with all my heart. It's my childhood. I love Toy Story, but this one just seems off. I'm not see for some reason I have a really bad feeling about this one.
I mean, it depends, right? Like Pixar, we live in a time now where Pixar has come out with not stellar films, right?
Hmm.
Like if you were talking a couple of years ago, this would be a much different story. But we're also talking about a Pixar that actually might be making a Cars movie that's good. Shock, surprise.
Yeah, I haven't seen Cars 3. Has any one of you? Have you
I
guys
mean,
seen it?
I saw the trailer, and the trailer actually got me interested and kind of wanted to see it a little bit.
Yeah, same, but at the same time, I didn't really feel like going out of my schedule to buy a ticket
No,
to see the
I
third
didn't
one.
either. I've not seen it, so I can't say anything. But still, yet, they made me interested in a Cars film. So yeah, you can never count Pixar out. Again, it's Pixar. They've done a lot of really good, amazing stuff. Whether you agree or not, I will swear by the fact that I think Up alone could have been, you could have just released the first that one, just that entire like 10 minutes of him and his wife, which is completely silent. They could have released that as a standalone thing, and people would have still
Yeah.
absolutely loved and adored it, and they would have made a killing off
Yeah.
of it. I swear
Hmm.
by that. I will continue to swear by that. So it's Pixar. You can never count them out completely. Do I think Toy Story 4 will be good? I don't know. I think if they're smart, Toy Story 4 will be nothing like what we've seen in the past. They're not going to continue on a story that has finished. They're going to do something different, even though it still has the same name.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But at some
Yeah,
point, one
that's
thing that I don't like is at some point the nostalgia has to wear off.
Yeah,
Like you can't just
I would
keep making
agree.
Toy Story movies or
And I would,
Shrek movies.
yeah.
eh,
But here's the thing about Toy Story 4, that you know what? In that case of nostalgia, then yeah, with Toy Story 3, nostalgia actually worked in its favor. But in terms of 4, I don't really see how nostalgia can work here.
I mean, it still can. Again, it's still Toy Story. It's still
Yeah,
Pixar
but
as well. Again, you have
Yeah,
to remember
but
it's
here's the thing:
Pixar.
in the third one, you had that nostalgia of if you saw those as a kid, then you had that nostalgia of yeah, I grew up with Andy, but now Andy is most likely not in this film.
It's not Andy that people are interested in, though. It's Woody. It's
You
Buzz.
know what I mean? You know what I mean, though. But because you're a you the viewer of the movie, well, you are a human. I hope, and then you relate to playing with your toys, and so the
Hmm.
nostalgia kind of works both ways. It works for these films and how they kind of grew up with you, and how yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh,
I mean, you do have to keep in mind, though, there isn't just nostalgia for Toy Story either. Pixar itself has nostalgia as well.
mm,
Even though it's
kinda
not
not.
something that's, you know, gone, I guess you would say, or that's old, it's still, people will go see a Pixar film just because it is Pixar.
Yeah, but it is kind of an interesting point of view. Bring up that the original How to Train Your Dragon was kind of competing with Toy Story 3 for the Oscar, and now it seems like for the final How to Train Your Dragon outings, they're competing against Toy Story again. Maybe.
Oh, they also have, I mean, 2019, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, we have Space Jam 2, possibly.
That's not confirmed.
It's a possibility, though, so that could be Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
There's also,
let
as
me
you
say
said,
it like this. I love Space Jam with all of my heart, but I will admit that it's not a good movie.
it's an ad. It's an ad. It's product
Yeah.
placement. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's what it was.
Yeah.
Next up on
the list. Yeah, we are getting to that. We're getting to that. Before that, after Toy Story 4, there's Avengers 4. Again, not much. It's a pretty crossing over audience, but then again, Avengers 4 is not really a competition in terms of awards. And let's be honest, Avengers 4 will make way more money, I think. But talking about something that is actually animated, and The Secret Life of Pets 2. There's a sequel to this, and here, this one, I'm telling you, I'm going to predict something. If I'm calling it, then awesome, I guess. But I think The Secret Life of Pets is one of those surprised hits of last year that like the studio didn't really. I'm thinking like people in this movie pretty much came out of nowhere to people, and everyone said, I was ready to hate this, but it's actually a pretty fun movie. I don't know, I haven't watched it. Have you guys watched it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's not terrible. It's like, I would say it's similar to. Again, I've not seen all of it, so I can't. So my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, I suppose. But it's another one of those movies you watch a little bit more so for the comedy and the fun aspect of it. It's just a movie you watch for fun. It's not something that I think is going to stick with you in any major way. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're going to come back to this particular movie to watch it many times over because it's special in some way, but it's not terrible.
Rush, your end on this?
Kind of the same. I mean, it wasn't outstanding by any means.
But yeah, that's exactly the thing that I think people just thought it was going to be horrible, and then once they actually watched it, they said, yeah, it's fun, it's cute, that's what I got. And all of a sudden it became this hit, and now, like 3 years later, here comes the sequel. So something tell me it's not necessarily rushed, but it's being made for the money. This movie doesn't really need to exist.
It's Illumination Entertainment, let's remember that as well, and that's generally what they do.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way I see it. I don't see it really being a threat. Maybe box office wise, but in terms of
something you always have to remember.
Stuff,
okay.
In terms of critics and awards, I don't really see this being a competition to Hiccup and Toothless. I could be wrong. We don't know, but
something you're always going to have to remember about Illumination Entertainment is every single one of their movies is going to make money at the box office, and that's simply because they actually don't budget their movies as much as say DreamWorks does. DreamWorks, a lot of their movies.
I think like Despicable Me. I think the first one was like what was it, like $60 million?
It was $70 million for Despicable Me. That was its budget, and it grossed way more than that. It grossed $500 million. Just to give you an idea.
They made a trilogy plus a spin-off. I'm not surprised.
I mean, but again, looking at that.
Little kids.
Again, to keep that into perspective, How to Train Your Dragon, the first one, if I'm not mistaken, was $165 million was its budget, And it definitely grossed more than that, but it's worth keeping in mind and worth remembering.
Yeah. Okay, and next one, which not necessarily competition in terms of, but I put it here anyway. The Lion King remake.
That's not a remake. That's a live action. Well, it's definitely, I guess,
You
it
know
technically
what
a
I
remake, but
mean. And to
it's
be
another
honest,
live action film.
and Wolf, we can't really see each other, but I would still tell you to look me in the eye and tell me there's some sort of meaning to the term live action with this movie. The Lion King has no humans in it. It's going to be all CG. They're using live action as a gimmick in this one.
What are you talking about live action? They can get real lions, HC. Real lions now.
Yeah, real lions.
That's gonna make it so much better when we see a real Scar throw a real Mufasa, off of the cliff.
Real James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
He's actually
Yeah, James Earl Jones showing up in the sky, and
You know what?
we'll totally see Donald Glover eat Seth Rogen and whoever they got to play Timon. I don't
You know what?
remember.
If they actually get the actual actors to just dress up in outfits,
Wait, who's
I
Donald
would
Glover gonna
love
play?
it.
He's playing Simba.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, he could be
But
Simba. I could see Donald Glover playing Simba.
Yeah, yeah, but okay, but let's be serious here for a second. There's nothing live action in this movie. There is nothing
When we
live
say
action
live
in this
action,
movie,
we
and
mean it is not 100%
It's not-
animation. It is maybe it doesn't matter if there's CG or not. It's like it's attempting to look like a live movie in the way that
yeah.
and so
Yeah, can you imagine seeing like real lions with their mouths lip synced to voice actors? Can you really see it?
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't understand the
absolutely.
power of computers, my friend.
Yeah,
And
I
not
understand
just
the
that,
power.
I understand the power of
Yeah,
bad
but
CGI.
you know what? Let
You
me
saw
ask you
Beast of
this:
Beauty and the Beast.
have you seen the movie Marmaduke?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, wasn't that so freaking off that you see that realistic
loved
looking
it.
Great Dan talking with its drooling face, talking and who was it? Owen Wilson, I think.
Yes, it was Owen Wilson.
Yeah, and you hear his voice coming out of Great Dan with a perfectly synced lips. I don't know. It looked really uncanny to me.
I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was great. From a this is so funny to watch perspective. I mean, seeing a Great Dane's
Yeah,
mouth,
from the
but Owen
like
Wilson's
from
voice
the
coming out of
it's
it was
so
just wonderful.
Oh wow.
from
a
It's So
Great
Bad It's
Dane.
Good.
It was even better than that. I mean, I could see it happening.
And Kiefer Sutherland
I
was
would
in
love it if
what
it did.
what dog was it? Never mind. But anyway, the movie we've all been waiting for and will totally be a competition for How to Train Your Dragon 3 in the Oscars because it's also the third in the trilogy, the SpongeBob movie 3.
I mean,
No.
it's possible. SpongeBob
No,
is definitely.
it's not possible. If the original SpongeBob movie wasn't nominated for Best Animated Feature, but Shark Tale was, then no.
The show itself has gotten quite a few nominations, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
But
Yeah,
like a couple hundred years ago.
No, it's still being nominated for Kids' Choice Awards and
That-
stuff.
A nomination means Jack.
Yeah,
Keyword, not
to be
friendly
honest,
kid word.
Alvin and the Chipmunks: The Squeakquel won Movie of the Year when it came out. So yeah, no, not something to go
But
by. I
kids make
understand.
horrible
No one-
decisions.
It's
That's
exactly what I
why,
was
like,
going
the
to
Kids'
say.
Choice. That's why I say the Kid Choice Awards mean absolutely nothing, because
Listen,
Yeah.
Rush.
it's like
Listen,
they'll choose
That
Minion,
is an
for God's sake.
important award that matters to
Rush,
people.
Rush,
It is
hold on a
important.
second. Hold on a
It
second.
has
I
You
was
want
a
to
kid.
integrity.
The biggest part of the
No,
Kid
no,
Choice Awards
no,
was the
Rush.
slime, and they took it away.
Rush, Rush, hold on. I'm going to make you really angry right now. Both Toy Story 3 and How to Train Your Dragon 1 lost in the Kids' Choice Awards to Despicable Me.
Yeah, that's
Go.
just because they don't understand good animation. I knew that would happen because Despicable Me is the kid the most kid-centric freaking movie there is. Why do you think
fair,
that they make 700 more of them that have all the stupid kid
700?
jokes?
My God.
there's only two, unless you're counting Minions, which
Despicable Me 3 just came out.
no, there's they're making the third one. I think I don't think they've come out with the third one
The third one has
yet.
come out.
No, it's out. It's
Oh.
out.
Okay, never mind.
Why have you seen it?
Because my girlfriend likes it. It actually wasn't bad.
Hey.
I will say that. They
Hey,
did,
to be fair, right? Like the first Despicable Me movie actually had a couple of good moments in it. And,
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
And it wasn't
liked it
terrible.
fine. I liked it fine. I just didn't really see the need to watch another one.
Hmm.
It was honestly the second one and third one are all right. It's not as like it's just the Minions movie was what annoyed me the most because like that was seriously going off the deep end with like just the kids and doing all the stupid jokes for them.
And people are saying that people actually try to argue with me that it's better than Inside Out, and I want to smack them.
No, but like the third
I
one
mean,
didn't have
it
as many kid
grossed
jokes
more
as
in
I
the
thought.
box office, so obviously it was better.
People who use that excuse need to be killed by me. No,
Next week, HC will be taking a little break.
I.
That's
I
not a
mean-
good thing.
But you know what? You want to know the funny thing is, we talked about the SpongeBob movie 3 by not talking about it at all. We just
It's SpongeBob.
actually.
If you
Yeah,
enjoy SpongeBob, you're probably
will-
going to see this movie, but you
Yeah,
probably will not see it
let's
in
not like this.
theaters. You'll probably see it on TV or as a DVD or online somewhere as you buy it online. You're probably not going to go to the theaters to watch SpongeBob.
Here's my thing. Fans of the show, which there are a lot of, will probably go see it, and it will make a few good bucks. But I don't see it being nominated for any awards or anything.
I don't even expect many of them will go to the theater to see the SpongeBob movie, though. I really don't. I think they'll just watch it online. I think, again, if you're a fan of the show, you're probably watching the show and you're enjoying the show, and you'll probably definitely be a fan of the movie, but I doubt you'll go to the theater just to watch SpongeBob.
Yep.
Then again,
But,
maybe you will.
Guys,
I'm no judge.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think Toothless can kill birds with his plasma blasts?
Why couldn't he?
So can he kill the Angry Birds movie too? Why does that exist? Why?
Because the first movie did really well in the box office.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, HC. There's no other reason to have another movie, a sequel, than good box office. It doesn't matter how good the story was. If it doesn't
Yeah,
have a good box
Rush,
office, it's not going to get a sequel.
Rush,
I mean,
I know. There's why there's a
never
Transformers
asked why.
fucking 6 being planned
Yeah,
already.
even if it's not good domestic, China freaking loves that stuff, man.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
China is. Sometimes I love them, and yet sometimes I want to kill them. But yeah, but I love Chinese food. give me egg rolls and rice and noodles, and I'll eat that shit up. But anyway,
This week
back
they're
to
not
Angry
racist
Birds.
Americans.
What do you want from me? They have good food. I'm not saying this in a bad manner.
I know. I'm just
But
kidding.
anyway, Angry Birds movie 2. It's Angry Birds. Who cares? Next. Okay, now.
I mean, was the first Angry Birds film nominated for anything? I don't think it was it?
No, it
Unfortunately,
got pretty reviews, so I don't know.
Okay. Then no,
Anyway.
I wouldn't expect much from the sequel.
Yeah, but anyway, the last animated movie of 2019 so far.
Well,
I know it's good.
not quite.
It is,
Everest is also animated. That's another
yeah,
DreamWorks film.
yeah, but that's DreamWorks. It doesn't count really as a competition in my
Yes,
eyes.
it does.
Because,
I mean, DreamWorks films can compete with one another.
But it's
you know,
in
if you're talking.
Oh,
but
But we're
Yeah,
talking about.
but-
I think we're more so looking at competition for like Oscar
Oh,
nominations. If you
okay.
care about that, if you're interested in that,
yeah,
just
but
what might win Best Movie of that year, animated version wise.
But you know, the reason I don't really count it is because it's still DreamWorks. So even if it outgrows How to Train Your Dragon 3, DreamWorks still wins from this. So at the end
Is
of
it
the
the
day,
win you want,
no, it's not the win I want, but at the end of the day, let's say it like this: if one movie makes it's 650 million in the box office, but the other one makes 660 in the box office, it's a double win, no matter which one. Now, if one bombed and the other one succeeded, different story. But
Understandable.
Fair enough.
and also there's the fact that Everest is a quote unquote original movie, like it's not based on anything, and How to Train Your Dragon is a prequel,
Hold
so
I don't know if they would say this, but there was another young adult book series called Everest that it could be based off of. Although if it's animation, I don't know. That gets pretty dark.
well, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon was also based on a book, and it has almost nothing to do with the book it's based on. So
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
but I don't know if they do
eh,
anything off this book.
yeah, but who knows if it's even related?
Exactly.
Like I'm pretty sure the have you guys heard of a 2010 horror movie called Frozen?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Well, there
It's
was
called.
in
It's a 2010 horror movie called Frozen. Just clarifying. No,
yes.
definitely not.
So
Definitely
and it's most likely not related to that one movie, which is a perfect segue because the last animated movie so far for
not.
2019,
That was a
from what's
terrible
announced, it's Frozen 2. And let's be honest here, if you remember my rant from the fan fiction episode, which these two psychotics actually nominated for their favorite moment of mine, there are crossing over fans of both franchises. So, and also we're talking about the sequel to the most profitable animated movie of all time as of now. So,
Real
yeah,
quick, HC,
yeah.
you say announced, so you're excluding that, the 25th of December Untitled Sony Pictures animation film?
Because yeah, I'm
'Cause you said
not
announced, so I
counting
just
that.
wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I'm not counting those because they don't have names. So once a name is announced, they could delay it to next year or maybe fast track it
Yeah.
to next year. So
There's
uh,
also just another real quick thing. The number of untitled Disney live action fairy tale films is
yeah,
aggravating.
it's aggravating, yes, but at the same time we don't know what those are yet. So I didn't feel the need to mention them.
Well, I would, in case anyone's curious, I'd like to clarify. Worldwide gross, yes, Frozen is number one in worldwide gross, beating out even the Minions. I was getting ready to say I thought Minions might have actually beat out Frozen in this regard, but it did not. I'm actually kind of
No, it
happy.
didn't.
I'm
No.
happy. The world is good again.
Yes, indeed. Now, here's the thing about Frozen 2. If we are talking about it, considering that there are people who legitimately don't like the original, and by legitimately don't like, I don't mean it's popular, so it's bad. I don't mean these people. These people are stupid. But I don't think the second one will have as big of an impact as the first one. Even though I'll watch it, I'm not saying that I won't, but
That all
I
depends
don't.
on if there's a song in it that everyone starts singing for months on end.
Same writers for the songs, so who knows?
Same
Definitely
lead
possible.
singer.
Hey,
Most
hey,
lead
hey!
singer, I'll say that.
Yeah, Idina Menzel is awesome, and everyone who says otherwise
Are you gonna
shall
kill them
feel
like
my
you kill
wrath.
everyone else?
No, they'll just feel my wrath, and I'll force them to drive with me in the car when I play all of her CDs over and over again. She's
It's not that
awesome.
hard to torture them. Just play Let It Go over and over again.
No, just try to sing "Let It Go." That'll
Or
Yeah, you know what?
treat your voice.
Considering the fact I'm a terrible singer, this will be a torture.
Correct. great.
But yeah, you know what? Just for the sake of it, How to Train a Dragon 3 against Frozen 2. Which one will you think will bring the most money?
Oh God,
And
probably Frozen 2. Just knowing how, because
okay,
it's Pixar and Disney.
it's not
No,
Pixar.
it's not Pixar.
It's
Was it
Disney
like? I mean,
alone.
they're gonna use the people from Pixar. That's what I mean.
No, as
Yeah.
far as I know, I
Actually,
think Walt Disney has their own animation studios, though it's definitely not as big
yeah.
as Pixar, and I think they
The
are.
the only thing
Yes.
I kind of
Oh,
think
maybe you're
Disney
right.
took from Pixar for their own use is Toy Story for Kingdom Hearts and Merida for the Disney Princess lineup. That's it.
Fair enough. All right. So anyway, Disney. Yes, it's a Disney movie. It's still within what? How many years ago was Frozen? Was it 2014?
It was
I
20, like when Frozen 2 comes out, it will be 6 years.
God. Do you think those little girls will still be interested now that they're like teenagers? Probably.
Dude,
I,
I was 20 when the original came out. I'll be 26 when the second one comes out, and I'll still watch it.
so the little girls are still gonna watch it, like
I,
HTTYD.
I, I would I would agree. Like Frozen 2 is sooner than How to Train Your Dragon 2 or 3. So
You know what? You know what? There's a 5 year gap between How to Train Dragon 2 and 3, and let's not to mention all the TV show and the graphic novels in between. And Frozen 2, yeah, there was Frozen Fever and that Lego special and that new one that's coming out in front of Coco, but
but
you know, we are looking at the fact that one is more popular than the other, but at the same time, one has been around more time and it's been more relevant than the other, and we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see.
I would I would expect Frozen 2 to do better in the box office just because again Disney and it's a name people know at this point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think the second film is going to do as well as the first
Yeah,
by
you know
any
what?
means.
You know what? I have a theory. Everyone keeps talking about how much they want Disney to make Elsa a lesbian in the second one.
No.
I'm telling you,
I'm not gonna talk about that. No. No.
no,
No.
I'm
I'm gonna
not going
hang
to
up if you
say.
even continue to talk about that.
No, I'm not going to talk about the thing itself. I'm just going to say, what I think of it. What I'm going to say, however, is that if they go that route, which knowing Disney is 70 to 30% chance,
That they are or are
then
not.
70% they're not, 30% they will. But if they're going in that direction, then How to Train a Dragon has no chance.
But it's gonna be like freaking kids. Why do we need to care about? Oh, it's such a progressive movie. Oh, it's a freaking animated kids movie that like they're not even
Yeah.
gonna care about. Like
Oh,
it's
oh no, no,
why
no,
would it?
no.
Is it gonna win? If that's the reason why it would win an Oscar over say How to Train Your Dragon, just because it's a freaking progressive movie, I'm done with the Oscars. Like there's no
I
reason.
mean,
Like
to be fair, if
if
you're putting stock in the Oscars, don't.
I
Yeah,
know I
Number
do,
I'm
one.
not.
but
You know
at
what?
least they
After
do like sometimes they do make good choices for the music. I'm
Mhm.
still invested in the music. Uh,
you know something. After the latest Oscar and all the fuck ups that they have, I'm seriously done with this. Like Suicide Squad won an Oscar for Christ's sake.
but that was for wasn't that for like the makeup,
I don't
costume
care.
design?
We still have to call this fucking movie
But dude, if like
Academy Award winning Suicide Squad.
for
Why?
costume design, I can give it that. Costume design was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Over Star Trek Beyond.
Yes.
Eh. Yeah.
And also, let's not. You know what I would love. You know what I would love. Let's just pretend, okay? It's the Oscars 2020, and the award for best animated feature goes to Frozen 2. The directors go up, everything, and then all of a sudden one guy comes up to the center. Sorry, we made a mistake. It's How to Train Your Dragon 3 that won. No, it's no joke. We actually made a mistake. Sorry.
But see,
Yeah.
the mistake for the misnamed one was for the best actress one. Like they gave her
Yeah, I
one
know.
card. There's no reason for the best animation for Frozen 2 to really have the same card unless it's like maybe the best music or something for the winner.
Best original song.
But that wouldn't have to be like immediately after, right? I don't think that
Yeah.
those two go right next to each other.
Rush, I was just joking because it
Well,
was so
the
funny.
thing is, you're the one
Don't.
who's talking about like how it's all the fuck ups, and I'm trying to at least defend the fact that it wasn't. It was just a weird like sub issue.
A friend of mine actually started theorizing that one person from the production of La La Land actually planned this entire thing up because when he went up the stage, people saw him with the actual envelope.
Moving on.
Moving on. So yeah, look at this. We've been talking for almost an hour on this How to Train Dragon podcast, and we barely mentioned How to Train Dragon 3, even though we did talk about its competition and
that's the whole idea.
yeah. Yeah, but we talked about its competition. We analyzed it, and just to sum it up, I think even though it's going to be a very busy year in terms of movies, there are a lot of interesting stuff coming out and a lot of animated stuff, which I still think it will have its chance. It would stand on its own and will hopefully get the attention it deserves.
And it's also worth noting that quite a few of these things, if I'm not mistaken, are still early on enough in production that they could definitely be moved to earlier or even later on. So it may not even be competing with some of these films in another year. You may see a much different outlook for 2019. You might even see How to Train Your Dragon 3 itself move to sooner or, again, later, if we're unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, all we can do right now is to wish Dean DeBlanc and the rest of the DreamWorks crew who are working on the movie as we speak all the luck we can give them, and we'll be there for when the movie hits theaters.
Actually,
you can count on that.
We should bring up, we forgot what I'm absolutely certain would probably be an animated movie. We forgot to talk about it and its competition to How to Train Your Dragon 3 and how it could most certainly...
What movie?
Absolutely, I'm getting to it, win the Oscar nomination for Best Animated Movie, and that's the Minecraft movie. That's coming out in 2019.
Wasn't Angry Birds enough? Just to make sure I don't.
For those of our listeners who may not have caught that, Rush actually legitimately quit the call for a brief second.
I hung out.
Just to make sure people won't take me too seriously, I've never actually played Minecraft, but I have a lot of friends who love it. I just didn't play it.
It's one of the highest grossing games of all time, I think. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah, so let's make a movie out of Wii Sports then.
Real quick,
Absolutely,
I just went
that'd be
back
fun.
to 2018 movies just to see stuff going on there. There's a Slender Man movie coming out. I hope
Really?
it's good. Yeah, I really like that game. Anyway, but hold on. So something we have to consider as well is when are the Oscars, right? They're in late February, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So does that would eliminate? Okay, I guess there's no. I mean, Lego Movie. Do you think they would consider that for the Oscars for the?
No. They won't consider it. As far as I'm aware, the line, if it's after December of that year, it doesn't count.
Okay, weird. Anyway, fair enough.
But yeah, so I think that's been all for How to Train Dragon 3's competition. We already wished DreamWorks luck with it, and we'll be there for when they'll need us.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else to add before we close this discussion?
Nope.
I'm good.
Okay, so that's been all for the Berkcast, the How to Train Dragon podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have anything to add about our analysis, You can do this on the Berks from Vine forums. We're all there. On Twitter, we are Berkcast with capital B, capital C. And on Tumblr, we are Berkcast Team. So until next time, I was HC.
I was Rush.
And I've been Wolf.
And we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.